Okay friends, we are into 23rd module of AI. In this particular module, we'll be looking at some refinements that we can make, okay, to make our claim paying algorithms better. Okay, we have looked at Minimax algorithm in detail in the previous chapter and the previous module, and the alpha beta cutoffs applied to it and how it makes the algorithm more efficient. In this particular module, we are going to look at some refinements. For example, one refinement is to wait for a quiet period. The other one is just explore the node that we have chosen a little further. It's called secondary search, and there are a few other things that we are going to look at. We are going to look at an algorithm called SSS star, state space search star, which is basically a solution space search mimicking Minimax itself, but is proved to be little better than Minimax, and we'll have a little introduction of a search called B star, which we mentioned in the previous module. The game playing domain is little different than other domains. We have already seen that it requires a minimum and maximum, and that's why it makes it more challenging. The other issue is the branching factor. So that again is an issue, and we would like to reduce branching factor, and because of that we introduce alpha and beta cutoffs. And also we also mentioned that the ordering is very important. If you are able to order your moves better, we'll be able to prune the search tree more and will get better advantage. Here, what we are going to do is, here we are going to wait for a stable state. That is first refinement. Wait for something called secondary search. So what does that mean? I'm exploring a tree. I find that this is a good move. Okay. Now I cannot explore, I don't have time to explore the entire game tree further, but I can at least explore that node to see whether my choice is right or wrong. Now this is important because there is something called horizon effect. It's quite possible that we are in the middle of peace exchange and we don't really know what's going to happen. So if I just stop at this point of time, I believe that I've done a great job. I've captured the queen of the opponent. But I don't really know that because of some mistake that I've made in the next move, my own queen also is captured. Once that happens, it almost evens out. The move look very promising, and now it will not if I proceed just one move further. Point is, it's always better to recheck that, and that is called secondary search. We'll look at that. Obviously, one more thing called book moves that we have already seen, and we are going to explore that once again, and we are going to use look at SS star and the B star in this. What is waiting for stability? You have to learn when to stop. Remember that B star case that I talked about. B star, we are going to have little introduction at the end of it. For example, if you're looking at the states, it says -5, and then the next level it becomes 7, then it becomes -2. Will you stop here? You should not, because it's changing, and it is changing because in most probable cases of attack and revenge. So you're taking some steps, you are at advantage and it is temporary because the other person is going to play and he will be at advantage for some time. Then you play and you are at advantage. So the situation is not stable, and taking a decision right now is not all that good. So that's the reason why we should wait till the stable state. So that's the first refinement. So Minimax, the over function now will also have this thing there. The second one, so look at the figure 23.1. When I explore for the first case, I have B as -3 and C is 4. So A is -3 actually. And same way it goes further. So second case, B becomes 4, C becomes -2. Now they are very different. Now B was -3 becomes 4. C was 4 becomes -2. That's not very good. Now you shouldn't stop at this point of time. You again take that further. What you get, you can now see that C promises 7. And not only it promises 7, the best branch, the branch which returns 7, okay, it also looks quite similar, 4, 5, 6, 7, the moves are, all of them are good for me. So I have, it's kind of a stable state. Now I can quit. I can say that I'll play C. Okay, why? Because it seems very, very stable. Now that's what waiting for stability is. So that's the first refinement that we'll talk about. The second one, which I hinted about, look before the horizon. So however deep you go, you can't explore the complete game tree. So you stop at ply number 5 or ply number 6 or ply number 7, but at some point of time you'll have to stop. Now exploring one ply further usually requires a huge effort, much more than the entire tree exploration. Even in the case, let us take the case of binary tree. Do you know what is the additional effort you need to explore just one additional level? Almost equal to the entire tree so far. Okay. Why? Because in level 1 you have 1. In the level 2 you have to explore 2 nodes. Once it is done, you explore next level, you will have to explore 4 nodes. You have explored 3 nodes so far, you will have to explore 4 nodes the next level. Next level, this 4 plus 3, total 7 nodes are already explored. If you want to reach to next level, you will have to explore 8 nodes. So in fact, one more node is to be explored, even in the case of binary tree. Higher the branching factor, more it is. So having an additional ply is almost impossible. Exploring that is almost impossible. But one good thing that you can do is you can explore that node for a level or 2 further, and you can combine this stability and this. So you can see that whether it is stable, I am getting consistently the same value, then I can rest assured that this node is at least as good as it is promising, and I can back that value up and can be certain about the outcome, and I can be more assured of. The third refinement, if I have already talked about book moves, I won't talk about that further in this particular module. But the other idea is to use some other algorithm other than Minimax. For example, one useful alternative is IDA. I've talked about that IDA and Chess 4.5. But then there is one more thing. The human players are quite smart, and let us look at a figure 23.2. I am playing A. I have 2 children, B and C. B offers me -5, C offers me -7. C has 2 children, H and I. H offers -7, I offers 9, but his opponent's move, unfortunately, so he will play H and I will get -7. The Minimax will say that I should play B, but a human player would like to take a chance, because what's the difference? If you play B, and opponent makes a mistake, see, opponent would play F, I will get -5, opponent would make a mistake, I will get -4. But in case of C, the opponent plays right, I will get -7, which is not all that worse compared to -5. It's little more worse, but not all that much different. But if opponent makes a mistake, I can almost win. So that's called taking a chance. The Minimax in its raw form will not take a chance like this. So this is an example where a conventional Minimax algorithm does not hold good. And why it doesn't? Because there is a reason. You almost always expect the opponent to play the best move it can. What if he is not capable to? In many cases it is so. In that case, the Minimax is not going to give you the right or the best answer. The best answer is sought actually by learning the opponent's mindset and deciding whether he is really going to choose the best move, or it's possible if we take a chance and there is a more likelihood of winning. So this is precisely the case. Here, if I play C and an opponent makes a mistake, I can win, but I don't stand a chance if I play B, because both the outcomes are worse. Okay, so that's the point here. Now let us look at the SSS star algorithm. Now SSS star algorithm is Minimax in solution space. That means it looks at all solutions and compare them. How it works is little different, but it's basically the same thing. Same alpha beta cutoffs are also applied, works the same. It contains minimum and maximizing ply, but it doesn't flow like it does. Okay, Minimax is more or less a depth first search kind of an algorithm. It tries this, then the other branch, then the other branch, and the other branch. While the SSS star is more like the breadth first search algorithm. It explores everything because it explores all solutions. Okay, it concentrates on complete solutions. In fact, it's very similar to plan space planning. You just begin with a plan, then refine that plan. Here, it begins with something called a strategy and then improves that strategy further. We'll soon see what the strategy is. Okay, it's same as the solution space search. Only difference is that in this case, the solution space search has multiple plies, unlike the earlier case. And it is definitely better than Minimax, but on the downside is that it requires more memory and processing time. Now, let us describe the process of SSS star. What does it do? It starts with all estimation of all solutions and aborting the non-optimal solutions once it processes. What does it do? It actually conceptually, what does it do? It has all those solutions. So we have a start space and a start state and all solutions. As long as we explore like the previous case, it looks at everything together. Look at estimate of everything. Whatever seemed the best, it explores it further, and it changes that solution if it requires to be. But the best thing is that it begins from something which seems best. And because it does that, there are better chances of pruning more search items when it applies alpha beta pruning. As I said, every solution SS star is providing is called a strategy, and we'll choose the process SS star does is to find the best strategy for us. Now look at figure 23.3. It describes one of our strategies. Now what you can see this, you won't really understand what is the strategy, and here also we have picked up a graph which is complete, a tree which is complete, but again a very small tree, because every node has only 2 children. Now this is a pretty small tree. In conventional case you have a huge tree, but again the restriction about screen prohibits us to use something better. But anyway, this is good enough for us to understand. Now if you see it carefully, you can see that from maximizing imply we have chosen one, for minimizing imply we have chosen all. For example, A to B we choose is maximizing. So instead of playing B or C, we only decide to play B. We won't decide. So that is our strategy, that we will play B. Then our strategy is that if the opponent plays D, I'll play I. If opponent play E, I'll play J. And if obviously then the opponent can play any move. This is our strategy. Opponent is allowed to play anything. Okay, so please understand that. My strategy is fixed. So in the beginning I'll play B. If the opponent plays E, I'll play J. So that is my strategy. So I've decided that strategy. I can have a different strategy. For example, the next slide talks about the other strategy. Look at this strategy. You may seem that is the same. No, it is not, because in this strategy, if the opponent plays E, instead of playing J, which was the earlier strategy, I decide that I'll play K. Now you can see that this strategy and the previous strategy, almost everything is the same except the E case. Okay. In case of E, there is a different decision. Otherwise, everything else is same. What does that mean? That means that multiple strategies have many things in common. In fact, if you can combine all strategies together. If you do that, we can have a figure like what we have in the next slide. So the one of the strategy is A to B, the other strategy is A to C. So I can play A, I can play B, or I can play C. So these are two strategies of mine. Next to next level, not next level, next to next level, again I am going to make decision. So what do I do if I have to play E? One strategy is to play J, the other strategy is to play K. Our strategy is to play B. When we play B, the opponent is allowed to play any of the move, that is D or E. The opponent plays D, then we have a strategy to play I, and then again opponent is allowed to play any. When the opponent play E, we have an option, we have a strategy to play J. So the strategy is what we have, and the next slide talks about the another strategy. We have the other strategy where, and this strategy and the previous strategy is only one thing different. When the opponent plays E, in the earlier strategy we used to play J, and this strategy we are going to play K, and again the opponent is allowed to play anything. Now what's the point in doing all this? The point is that we can decide our strategy, strategy 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever, as many as we can, and we'll like to figure out which strategy is better. In fact, for that, what we do is we'll start with the best possible strategy and then improve further. How exactly is done is shown in the next slide. In this slide, we start with all possible strategies together. So look at the maximizing move, we have both of them covered. The strategy 1 playing B, strategy 2 playing C. The next level we allow opponent to play. For this particular point of time, we don't really know what opponent is going to play. So we just assume that is going to play the rightmost move, and we are going to refine it further. Remember, this is a refinement search in solution space where we are going to change this. This is the first assumption. At maximizing ply, we again have two strategies. For example, E, one strategy is to play J, the other strategy is to play K. Again, we allow opponent to play only the right that thing. Okay. So this is what? This is one graph which talks about all strategies that are there, given some fixed value for the opponent strategy, which we are going to refine. So this is the beginning point of SSS star algorithm. Out of the strategies depicted on this thing screen, we are going to figure out which one is better. At this point of time, we have no one to choose, so we'll choose one. Okay, we'll explore C, which gets the value 8. When we get that value 8, okay, we have U, W, and C are explored. Static evolution function is applied, and what we get is 8, 6, and 5. Now C is the best, so we explore that further. C is 8. You can see that next one talks about that. So but then can I back that value 8 up? I cannot unless I find out what's the sibling's value. So I explore B. Okay, remember in the beginning we have only allowed the opponent to explore C, and we have not done exploration of B. But before, because 8 is better, I'm passing it up now. So I get 9. Now that's good. So I send it up. Okay, because it's a minimizing ply, 8 and 9 we expect 8 to go up. So the n value is now 8. Now can I pass that up? I cannot, because I'll have to look at the right sibling to check. But I don't have the value at O. So for getting value at O, I'll have to explore E. So I explore E, I get 7. Okay. But then 7 is not possible to be passed up. I'll have to explore D. Again, our alpha cutoff is going to help us. How? Because we already are guaranteed to have 8. Remember, G is our that thing. If we play N, we get guaranteed to get 8. So if we play O, we get 7 or less, because it's the minimizing ply. What's the point in exploring it? There's no point. So D, though I said we should explore, but looking at the value of E, there's no point. So we will not be exploring it. So that is an alpha cutoff. So can I pass that value up? C, 8, can I pass up? I cannot pass that value up. Okay, I've got G as 8 unless I get what F offers to me. So for that I'll have to explore L and others. Okay, so I'll begin with that M. Okay, explore M, the second child of M, Z, which offers me 7. I can't pass this thing up unless I know what A offers, but I don't need to, because remember this is going to be a beta cutoff. I have 8 possible. Okay, C, there is an opponent going to play. He plays G, he will get 8, and if plays F, there is a possibility of getting 7 if opponent is not going to play that. Okay, it is not going to play M because it is 7. So you will only explore it if it is less than or equal to 7. But that we don't bother, because we already have an option at our place. We can play 8. So this is again an alpha cutoff. Okay, this is less than or equal to 7. So I explore the next branch because I want F to get the value, the backing up value. But I can't back up unless I get what L offers. So I start exploring L, but again I get 6, which again offers me a cutoff. Why? Because it is less than 7. So there is no point. M is better. If I am a player, I'll play M. I'll not play L because it offers me only 6 or less. M offers me 7 or less. So M is better. So there is no point exploring Y here. F offers me less than or equal to 7. So C will get 8. Now once I get that, I'll try to see, before I am interested in finding out what A gets, I need to know what B offers me. And if I want to get what B offers me, obviously I'll have to look at my strategy and determine what's the offering that I get from the rest. Okay, so I begin with W, with capital W, where I get 6. Now when I get 6, I get again the cutoff. Why? Because 6 is something which is less than 7. I have that 8, which I already have that alpha cutoff. Okay, so anything less than 8, anything less than 8 is always cut off, so I don't care about that. So I get less than 6. So I explore U now. This branch J will have less than or equal to 5. Again alpha cutoff, this is removed. When E offers anything less than or equal to 6, the complete D branch is cut off. Why? Because B, if I will only play B if I get guarantee of getting something better. But if I play B, I know that opponent can play E, which gives me 6 or less. So I will not play that. So there is no point exploring D. You can see that that also is cut off now. Now you can see that with this simple case, when I am doing this, I am exploring this, I have cut off many branches. Because why? Because I have chosen a better branch in the beginning. And you can see the saving. You can calculate number of nodes. Almost 50% nodes are cut off. So that's the advantage of doing this. Oh, you can see that this is beta cutoff. This is the huge beta cutoff that I have. It's happening at minimizing layer. An opponent is going to play, but opponent will never play. I'll not let the opponent play that, because I know that opponent can always play E, which is less than or equal to 6. I don't want to give him a chance to play because I have a better option available. So I won't let, there is no point in exploring D and the branch. So eventually what I get at A is 8. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to play C in the next case. So that's how the decision is made in SSS star algorithm. let me recap what we have started with. We have started with all possible strategies of maximizing layer and one typical path chosen for a minimizing ply, which we modified. So looking at all that, we have chosen a node which looks most promising, and then we start exploring it further. Okay, and when we want to back the values up, only when necessary we explore other nodes and compare that with the others. Because we have started with the best possible node, we have more chances of the cutting of other branches, and that's what you probably have seen. We have alpha cutoffs in almost every branch and also a beta cutoff in the last branch. So this heavy pruning is possible because of this strategy. Multiple strategies with common elements is explored by SSS star. Okay, and some nodes are part of multiple strategies. We have, and the solutions, the strategies are called partial solutions. Okay, so they are explored. Alpha and beta cutoffs are applied like in the previous case. SSS star is better in the sense that it picks up the most promising branch before others and higher chances of choosing the right order. So that's the power of SSS star algorithm. That results into maximum pruning, and the improvement is dependent on, obviously, because it has to remember multiple strategies. Assume that it is 5 ply deep and the branching factor is 10, then it is 10 raised to 10 number of states it has to remember, and so on and so forth. So it has to remember a lot of things. It has to process more because it has to compare with many. So the processing time and storage time is really huge, but then it gets us the result much faster. Okay, so memory required is huge. Bookkeeping required is also more. The last topic of this particular module is B star algorithm. The B star algorithm is an extension to A star, which was designed by Hans Berliner, who was two things rolled into one. He was a computer scientist as well as a chess player. He was world champion rather, not only a player, he won championships one upon a time. So he knew definitely a lot about chess. So he built this program, and this program is very different than other programs. And I'm not going to discuss the algorithm here in more detail, but there are some characteristics which I would like to narrate. It has 3 dimensions, unlike other cases. The third dimension represents the goodness of that node, and that is something which is not heuristic, something different. Other difference that instead of representing an estimate, it represents a range instead of an estimate, and that range varies, and that the value in the range, so it's like a fuzzy value. Okay, so you don't really know the exact value, so you said it is between 5 to 10, so it's kind of a fuzzy representation. And that's what he used, and it doesn't have predetermined length of the tree. He decides stopping exploration only when he feels right. Okay, and I've already talked about that waiting for the stable period. So this algorithm used to wait for that stable period to arrive, and then it stops. So B star is very different, as I said, than other algorithms. Not only that, it does a preliminary probe also to decide better moves. And once it probe that thing, it decides which move is better, and then use that move as a benchmark. So which is quite similar to SSS star. So if you choose that move first, it's easier for you to prune other branches which are non-optimal. And not only that, it stops only when one alternative is clearly better than the other. It doesn't stop when the other, this thing is the one very, very important criteria it used to stop. Then one alternative is clearly having an edge over the others. It's a selective search, and it uses PMG. Okay, plausible move generator, like the SSS star. With that, this module ends here. Let us recap what we have seen in this particular module. In this particular module, we have looked at some of the refinements, like waiting for a stable period is one, using book moves, use a secondary search to explore the search tree when at the boundary when we have stopped normally for a single ply or 2 ply dip, to make sure that the node is as promising as it seems at the point of time. And we have looked at SSS star algorithm, which is minimax for a solution space. It looks at all solutions together and then decide which solution, refine solution based on the values which you back up, and finding out which one is better. Because it starts with the best possible value, more chances of pruning, and definitely it's able to solve problems in a more optimized manner. Okay, so that's the advantage of SSS star. Finally, we have looked at B star algorithm, which is far different than these algorithms, but then it was designed by a world champion as well as a computer scientist. It has some sense of uniqueness in it. With that, we conclude this module. Thank you.